This is TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and the State of the Saints podcast is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Over 2 million men worldwide choose Manscaped for all their below-the-waist needs. For those that loved the Lawnmower 3.0, well, I got news for you. The Manscaped engineering team has confirmed that they have successfully created the Lawnmower 4.0. The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. The new trimmer even allows you to customize your trim all through additional guards lengths, sizes 1 through 4. And looks-wise, it's sleek with a two-tone matte and gloss finish, even features a hot foil stamp, black chrome Manscaped logo. Show your more off loud and proud. Go to manscaped.com, use the promo code State of Saints, and you will save 20% off of the Lawnmower 4.0 as well as other Manscaped items. That's manscaped.com. Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. On this edition, we're going to be talking about Saints training camp and it being the first day that the team has put on pads. That's right. Today was the first day of padded practice for the black and gold, and there are so many storylines that we can talk about. We're also going to be discussing Alvin Kamara, Las Vegas pushing his court date back 2 months. But of course, I want to say thank you to everybody that's here right now. Shouts out to everybody that has hit me up on social media. I put a tweet out. I know there was a lot going on this past weekend when it comes to the Saints. But this past weekend, my son Paxton, he tested positive for COVID. So I have been occupied taking care of him, and also, man, just trying to make sure that I keep my head above water as well. So thank you to everybody that has, tweeted, that has reached out, asked about my son. He's doing fine. Of course, he has to stay at home for 5 days. He won't be able to go to daycare, as well as myself, man. I have to stay at home as well, because, got to make sure that I'm being safe as well. And so is my wife. But thank you all so much. I want to say that. I ask that you hit the like button if you enjoy the State of the Saints podcast and all of the content that we have here. We're going into year number 5 for all of those that are new to the channel. And hopefully by the end of this podcast, it won't be your last. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the bigger storylines that came out of Saints camp on today for the first padded practice. The first thing that stands out to me, is Paulson Adebo. Paulson Adebo has really approached camp very differently. He was good last year when he was a rookie coming out of Stanford, and he lived up. I won't even say lived up. He exceeded expectations. You look at a guy who was a third-round pick, didn't play because the Pac-12 suspended their season, and by the time they decided to try to have a season, Paulson Adebo decided that he was just going to go ahead and sit out. So to me, it was a little bit of a punishment by the NFL for him sitting out. But, another man's trash, and I'm not calling him trash, but that's just the old saying goes, one man trash is another man's treasure. The Saints drafted Paulson Adebo in the 3rd round. But if you've been following Paulson Adebo, and if you've been following the State of the Saints podcast, I have said this on countless occasions. The dude is a 3rd-round pick, but he has 1st-round talent. The Saints would not have had Paulson Adebo on his team because he probably would have been in the top 15 if he would have finished his season at Stanford instead of sitting out. Okay, so the Saints finding him in the 3rd round was a great find. And you got to give credit to the scouting team, Jeff Ireland, who has done an outstanding job at finding guys late in rounds to contribute to this team. You think about Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara was a 3rd-round pick. Paulson Adebo, a 3rd-round pick. You have Trey Hendrickson. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have guys who have in years past have been drafted in the 3rd round and has really did some great things. I mean, Trey Hendrickson got paid in Cincinnati, and he was among the leader in sacks last season. So Jeff Ireland, the Saints coaching staff, has done a really good job finding those diamonds in the rough late in rounds, rounds where teams are like, I'm not sure. We'll just put them out there and see what happens. Paulson Adebo has always had range. He has the size to me like a Xavier Rhodes. Some of you probably know who Xavier Rhodes is. He was a really good cornerback a couple of years back, borderline all-pro. If he wasn't all-pro, he has that same size. Also, Paulson Adebo, he used to play wide receiver. I think that's helpful to him. His instincts to be able to locate the ball, to try to, locate where the ball is, also try to drive on the ball. It's been times where we've seen him make really good plays. One play in particular, I know people was talking about maybe it was a little bit of luck, but it was a play versus Chris Olave today. And if you have ever played cornerback or you ever played secondary, and if you ever wore one of these, you know this as well. Some people were saying that was a little bit of luck, but to me, it just shows you how smart this dude actually is. Chris Olave is one of those wide receivers that wear a visor. Those visors are mirrors, right? It not only just shields the sun for wide receivers, but it also is a mirror. So if a wide receiver looks back, you can actually see the ball coming down at the wide receiver. So that gives you time to turn around to know where the ball is without actually causing a penalty. It's like one of those old little tricks. That's why it's kind of, a benefit if you're a cornerback, if you're a smart cornerback, to actually use that particular equipment against some of these wide receivers. So I don't think that it was luck at all. It just shows you how smart this guy is. I said when I heard Paulson Adebo's first press conference as a rookie, when he was breaking down game film, when he was talking about offensive tendencies and what the defense is asking him to do, I think he was maybe 1 or 2 camps in. It just tells me everything I needed to know about the guy, how smart he is, how talented he is. And the Saints are lucky to have him. It's no coincidence. I'm sitting here today, and I'm saying this with my whole chest. Paulson Adebo is without a doubt the surefire number 2 of this team. And I just feel like he's only going to get better. And it might come a time. I'm saying it might come a time where we're asking a question. And I mean, no disrespect, but we're probably going to be asking a question: who's the better cornerback out of Marshawn Lattimore and Paulson Adebo? I'm serious. Like, this guy is everything. It's advertised. And I think that the person that he plays closest to, as far as his talent, to me, is Richard Sherman. And I think that it's no coincidence that they went to the same school. And honestly, they kind of followed the same path, because if you follow Richard Sherman, he was a wide receiver as well that converted to being a cornerback. So that talent, that ability, that skill set is helping him on the defensive side of the ball. So very smart guy, very talented guy. And it's good to know that he's doing all the little things that you want to hear about and see from a player. Staying after practice, being able to put some extra reps in, bringing guys like wide receivers out there to do one-on-one matchups behind the scenes. That is what you want from a player. But before I move on to the comments, I want to just talk a little bit about, or I just want to show this clip rather. This was a clip last year. It was right after the Saints Week 1 game versus the Green Bay Packers. And I had the pleasure of having JD, John DeShazer, on the show. And we talked a little bit about Paulson Adebo and some of the things that we saw after that game, and also what we seen in training camp. But this is from JD. Check it out.
What we saw Sunday was exactly what Paulson Adebo was in training camp in the preseason. The exact same thing. The dude makes plays, and he makes plays on the ball, and he covers people, and he shuts people down. I mean, it's, he's got some talent. And I won't name names, but I asked a guy who would know. I said, is 29 ready to start? I mean, we keep seeing him making these plays. I said, is he ready to start? And like the guy, he said, I don't know if he's ready to start, but man, it's going to be hard to keep him it's going to be hard to keep him down if he's playing like that. He's going to be in the rotation.
Right.
Well, now he finds out he's got to start. Not only does he have to start, he's got to start against Green Bay.
Right.
And it just doesn't look too big for him. We talked to his college coach, David Shaw from Stanford. And David Shaw said, a couple of years ago, he was like, Paulson Adebo was the best cover corner in America. And, he was just playing here. And I guess not a lot of people saw him. But that dude looks like, he's big, he's physical, and he's not afraid of anybody.
As you can see, John DeShazer was speaking very highly on Paulson Adebo, and that was last year. And I know some people probably had some reservations about Paulson Adebo. I know that Atlanta Falcon game when he gave up that big play versus Cordell Patterson, and people were like, oh, man, he sucked. Because we all know that not all Saints fans, but some Saints fans, for some apparent reason, their emotions get the best of them, and sometimes their emotions makes their opinions waver from play to play. But I said this at the beginning when I saw him. I said, as a rookie, he's going to give up some plays. I said, but eventually he's going to turn out being a very solid corner. And as you can see towards the end of the season, you start to see him play better, and it kind of translated to the very last game. Would have been interesting to see if the Saints would have made the playoffs, what type of performance he would have put together. But the very last game we saw him as a starting cornerback probably was his best game in the Saints uniform. So I'm excited to see what Paulson Adebo can do. Hopefully, the battle of attrition, he wins that, and we can be talking about him helping the New Orleans Saints win some football games going forward. But I'm going to go ahead and read some of your comments. Thank you all so much. As my son trying to get into the door, I apologize for that. Every time he hears me, he wants to come in and be a part of the show. I had to lock the door this time. My co-host today a little bit under the weather, so I'm pretty sure he's gonna make a cameo sooner rather than later. But let's go ahead and read some of these comments. I start with Trey. He says best cornerback duo in NFC South by far. Well, let's make sure that we can put a couple games together before we start to draw this conclusion. I'm excited to see what Paulson Adebo can do as a cornerback, pick up where he left off last season towards the end. But I would like to see this thing be put together. I think sometimes when I'm watching some of the video footage, shouts out to all the people on the ground, the Nick Underhills, the Ross Jacksons, the Boot Crew, so many people that are working tirelessly, giving us content that we can share with one another. I think that sometimes we get a little bit we get too emotional about some of the things that we see. We might see a pass breakup, we might see an interception in camp, but I'm not concerned about that today. If you're listening to this live on a Monday, the defense got the best of the offense, and I know some people may be concerned about that, but I'm not, because we all hear the saying, iron sharpens iron. The Saints defense is the best, right? They're the best of the two sides of the ball. Right, they're better than the offense. It's been a while, been probably a long time. You probably have to go back to the Haslett days, the last time the defense was better than the offense. But it's good to see, because here's the thing: when you got some of the best going up against rookies like Chris Olave, you got them going up against Mike T. You got Jarvis Landry out there. You got Callaway, and these guys finally start making plays. That's going to show you that these guys can make plays versus some of these other defenses, because there are very few defenses out there that are better than the New Orleans Saints. And when you have an opportunity to go up against elite competition, guys that know what they're doing, coaches that really work really hard to make sure that their side of the ball is the best, the creme de la creme, it's going to be great when the offense finally puts it all together. So I don't think that people need to be concerned if you see, a pass breakup, or so you see a defensive player jump in front of a pass. That just shows you how good this defense is and where this offense needs to be. So I know every time a video come out, he suck, man, why we got him, man, why would you throw that? I mean, give me a freaking break, man. Like, it's practice. And I know sometimes, these videos, we let them get the best of us, but let's just calm down. I'm looking forward to seeing what Adebo can do along with Lattimore, and hopefully once again, the battle of attrition, they both win that battle. Jerry says Michael Thomas shut Jeff Duncan down and up. Yeah, look, man, it seems like everybody has a problem with Jeff Duncan. I don't know Jeff Duncan like that. He's been on the show. I don't have any type of opinion about him. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just saying that, because he's been here or I want him back. I mean, if I had an opinion about him, I would say it. It just seems like to me, like everybody has a problem with him. Seems like Mike T definitely had a problem with him. And, I think I heard, he had a podcast or a show and, they were kind of talking about it. You can kind of tell, like, look, I've been in broadcasting for a very long time, and I know when things get to a person, the way that they react, the way that they deliver things, and you can tell it kind of got to them, because when a player calls you out, it kind of affects your reputation. To be honest with you, because when he did call out Jeff Duncan, you had a lot of members of the Who Dat Nation, they kind of chimed in and said some things, so that could affect a person's reputation, or what I'm saying, it could affect a person's bottom line. Like if you're like a freelance reporter and people are counting on you to give them content, and all of a sudden, like some of the people that you're putting content out about dismisses that, it can take a hit. But I mean, Jeff Duncan has been doing it for a long time. He a big boy. I'm pretty sure he didn't heard worse. Definitely covering the Saints during the time when the Saints weren't very good. So I'm pretty sure some of the things that he said about the team, some of these players that in years past probably had something to say about him. So he a big boy. He'll be all right. Back to Black and Gold says first round talent going in the third. Them Saints stay with the Gold Nuggets. Yeah, that goes to show you how good a coaching staff actually is. It shows you how well the Saints scout players. And just because Paulson Adebo didn't play, that probably was a deal breaker to some football organizations, right? Oh man, they probably question his toughness. They probably question why he didn't play. The reason why he didn't play, he could have played if he wanted to. And guys start to like second guess that, but the Saints didn't hold that against them. And because of that, it's paying dividends. It's paying dividends for the Saints. It's paying dividends for the career of Paulson Adebo. So hopefully, the Saints can cash in, and so can Paulson Adebo. Down the line, when his contract is up for extension, maybe he can cash in based on his performance, and the New Orleans Saints can get some production out of him for years to come. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, Back to Black and Gold. Appreciate that. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Can't interview Mike. Jeff seems that way, right? Seems like he can't interview him. But I mean, Michael Thomas don't really do interviews anyway. That's just not his style. Which I mean, I understand. Like he doesn't owe anything to me or anybody else. What we want from Michael Thomas is to go out there and perform. I'm not really big on, I wonder what he has to say about this situation. I don't care. If he takes it upon himself to expound on how he's feeling about something, a certain situation, I'm listening. I'm all ears, just like any other fan, just like any other reporter. But if he doesn't have anything to say, I'd rather his game do the talking. Michael Thomas has been out of football for almost 2 years. I'm pretty sure he has a ginormous chip on his shoulder, and he's chomping at the bit to go out there and play. I don't care about watching him in practice, doing slant routes. I don't care about out routes. I care about Michael Thomas in the regular season. Will he be able to hold up? Will he be able to be as advertised? Will he be the same player he was in 2019, where he led the league in receptions and yards, being the offensive player of the year? Will he be that guy? I don't care about him standing in front of the tarp of the New Orleans Saints and answering questions from the media, because that's not going to win you or lose you games. It gives you dialogue, of course, gives me dialogue as a content creator and as a writer. But at the same time, he doesn't owe me anything. He doesn't owe you anything, which leads me to my next point. I want to talk about. I hear people criticizing Tyrann Mathieu, talking about he scrubbed his social media of New Orleans Saints content. People are wondering what that's all about. Look, man, there's some things bigger than football. I know that we act like football is the is-all and be-all of life, but it's not. Of course, we want the Saints to win, but the man is going through personal matters, and I respect that. Whatever happens, it happens. That's his decision. That's up to him and his family. And I don't understand why people are going at this dude and talking about what's going on with that. And look, winning is important. Of course, we want to feel good. Of course, we know the emotions that come with the Saints winning. but there's some things bigger than football. Hopefully some things are bigger than football in your life. And if it's not, then keep living. I guarantee you it will be. When I was single, I didn't have a wife, I didn't have a son. I was able to go out here and some of the things that wasn't really that important seemed like it was the most important thing in the world to me. But that changed, when I held that 5-pound, 3-ounce baby on May 19 of 2019. And, when I took those vows, when I married my wife on the beach in Myrtle Beach, it changed, right? So for all the people out there that's criticizing Tyrann Mathieu, saying anything about him and talking about you need to report, keep living. I guarantee you're going to realize that football isn't the biggest thing in the world. Okay. We all want Tyrann Mathieu to be a part of this team, but he needs to be where he needs to be mentally in order for him to be the best Tyrann Mathieu we want him to be. So I feel like he needs to take as long as he can in order for him to get his mind right and make sure that he's right with his family. Let's scroll down a little bit more, folks. Thank y'all so much for being here. 138 people here. If you have not already, I asked that you hit the like button. That's all I ask. I ask for donations. If you donate to the show, I would appreciate that. But all I ask that you hit the like button on your way in and subscribe if you enjoy the content. David Jones says Adebo did give up some big plays, but I feel like Williams should have been shading towards his way when Lattimore was locking it down. Look, I feel this way right here. Like, I think that we are very, very critical of cornerback play, right? If the guy not Reeves, if he's not Deion Sanders, and if he's not neutralizing, shutting down the field every single time, we just automatically just think that this dude is trash. I'm not disrespecting anybody, but I can sometimes tell people that have not played the game of football. No, I'm serious. Like, no disrespect, and I'm not saying that to David, but I can tell sometimes when people never played game, never been physical, never been out there. If you're a wide receiver, you get paid a lot of money to catch the ball. And sometimes you can have the best coverage in the world, but there are wide receivers out there, you can give them blanket coverage and they'll still come out down with the football. That just happens sometimes. Anybody that don't believe that Cordell Patterson is a special player just because he plays for the Atlanta Falcons and we hate them, then you're sadly mistaken. If you think that Christian McCaffrey is not a special player because he plays for our rival, then you're sadly mistaken. These guys get paid a lot of money to catch these passes. And I don't think that a cornerback's play is conditional. If a guy's neutralizing the field 80 or 85% of the time and he gives up 15% of the plays sometimes, that doesn't mean that he's a terrible cornerback. There's only a few Jalen Ramseys in the world. There's only a few Darrelle Reeveses in the world. There are only a few Deion Sanders. Well, in my opinion, there has never been another Deion Sanders. There are very few guys that can neutralize a field and shut down the field to a point where it's just without saying that they're the best cornerback. And sometimes I feel like our critiques when it comes to the cornerback positions are unfair. I just think that if a guy's shutting the field down, first down, second down, then all of a sudden it's 3rd and 5 and a wide receiver catch the ball on them. All of a sudden we up here throwing stuff at our TV and talking about the dude not good. Look, I just look at analytics. I look at how many times this guy gets beat, more times than not. And if you've been watching Paulson Adebo, it just comes with the territory. It comes with the territory. When you're young and you're inexperienced and you're coming from the college ranks and you're probably the best player and you're big fish in a little pond and you're probably the best player not only just on your team but probably in your entire conference, and then you come to the NFL when everybody's good, of course there's going to be a little bit of a culture shock and a change and an adjustment that you have to make. And I just don't look at a guy coming in and somebody catches a deep pass on him, all of a sudden he sucks. No, it doesn't work like that. If you look at a guy's entire body of work, you'll see, right? And I encourage, or I ask anybody, I challenge you to please tell me, name a cornerback that's just shutting it down like that where you never seen a wide receiver make a play on him. If you say Jalen Ramsey, I can show you to the Super Bowl when Jamar Chase caught a pass on him. I can show you with the divisional round of the playoffs when Tom Brady threw the pass to Mike Evans on Jalen Ramsey. So even the best get beat. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think about the guys that are not considered some of the elite? Of course, they're going to get beat, but that doesn't mean that there's not a place for them in the National Football League. Once again, no disrespect to anybody out there, but sometimes I feel like the way that we critique the cornerback position is completely unfair. We don't really give these guys their flowers or give these guys their praise when they're out there neutralizing the field. But of course, if the game on the line and somebody throws a pass down the field in desperation time and a wide receiver come down with it, all of a sudden we need to think about trading or cutting a guy. Like, I don't feel that way. Okay. I just feel like that's emotion. Sometimes I just feel like sometimes we have to deplug ourselves from the situation and allow logic to sink in, because it takes us some time, especially after a Saints loss or a very tough game, in order for us to really put logic together for us to understand the team really gave it their all rather than win or lose the game. So thank you for the comment, man. No, and once again, no disrespect, and I'm not saying that towards you as far as some people not knowing the game, but there are people that emotions kind of waver. It's like the stock market, up and down. Calm down, and then allow logic to sink in. And I guarantee you, you'll probably feel differently if you look at a person's whole body of work. The Facebook user, I apologize, is only saying Facebook user, but it says Debo is straight Debo and players and showing his toughness. Man's going to be better than Lattimore, I feel like. Well, look, right now, Marshawn Lattimore is the best cornerback on the Saints team. And in my humble opinion, I feel like he's the best cornerback the Saints have ever had. I haven't seen a cornerback that can just shut down the field the way that he does, going up against some of the elite of the elite. I think that he had his best season as a pro, and that's saying something for a guy who won Defensive Rookie of the Year. But I think that he is the best. Does not mean that Adebo can't catch him. It doesn't mean that if Adebo put together some solid years or some really good campaigns, that he won't be in that number. No pun intended. But as of right now, Lattimore is the best cornerback on the team. I feel like anybody that's going to put Debo in front of Lattimore right now would be just prisoner of moment. And I know you're saying that he eventually may become that, but he isn't right now. Lattimore, to me, is still the best, but it's good to see. How many years have we wanted to see a solid number 2 cornerback emerge? We knew that Lattimore was the guy, right? When he was missing, we knew something was missing. But it's good to see that you can have a guy that can go out there and that can play man press coverage and do a really good job, and also be able to come down with the ball and make plays as well. So it's good. It's a good problem to have. It's a good discussion that you're even thinking about this being the future. It's a plus. One, for the coaching staff for selecting these guys, and number 2, a testament to how both guys are emerging as pros. So thank you. We need to find Brian Pearson $20K for talking about Watson. Look, I don't know exactly what's been said about Deshaun Watson. I don't know exactly what was said about him, but I will say this. I'm not getting into that debate about 6 games isn't enough, because here's the reality. It could have been a whole season. People would have got mad. Could have been 8 games. People would have got mad. Could have been 10. People would have got mad. Look, there was no verdict or no decision that would have made anybody or everybody just feel like, oh, it was the right thing to do. You have individuals out here that feel like Deshaun Watson should never play the game of football again. Some people feel like, if you're probably a Browns fan, I'm pretty sure, probably feel like 6 games are enough. Some people may feel like because, there were, he was found not guilty. It's not about the court of public opinion. It's about the court of law. And the court of law said that, they found no foul play. All right. So some people fall into that. What I'm saying is, look, it's very important that we acknowledge that sexual assault, is out here, right? One of our legendary rappers, Mystikal, just got arrested for the same situation. He spent time in prison because of sexual assault, right? We know it's important, right? The whole Time's Up Me Too movement has been taking the world by storm since 2016. And we really have been talking about women's rights and, how, we should conduct ourselves when it comes to going out on dates with women, respecting their spaces and stuff like that. It's not my place to say what the NFL should have done. I just know that regardless to what happened, somebody wasn't going to be satisfied. Deshaun Watson went to court. He was found not guilty. So I know this isn't the most popular thing to say, but if you were to suspend this dude for a year, it would basically just be the court of public opinion, because the court of law says that they didn't find anything. Now I know, people get mad, and when people talk about this stuff, and we live in a society today, if people don't feel the same way you do, we blocking each other. It means you're a sympathizer. You don't love women. You don't respect women. I wholeheartedly respect women, but we have to respect the judicial system too. I know sometimes the judicial system isn't perfect, but the court of public opinion would have been the deciding factor if they would have suspended him more than 6 games. That's all there is to it. That's all I got to basically say about this. Now, when it comes to the decision making of the 6 games, I feel like that would affect Alvin Kamara and what the NFL is going to do to him, as well as other players that may be facing suspensions. I think this is a good time to talk about Alvin Kamara. They're pushing back his court date 2 months. The way that it's going, to me, I think they're going to end up selling it out in court, pushing it back. It looks like more than likely he'll be able to play the entire season. Now, there's some good as well as some bad, because number one, we know that the NFL does not do the New Orleans Saints any favors. So maybe we can look at this. Maybe they're prolonging the inevitable, right? So if he does go to court 2 months later and they find him guilty or something, the NFL probably ain't going to end up suspending him. Probably 2 games, maybe 4. He probably appeal that for 2. When will those 2 games come? Will they come when the NFC South is on the line? The Saints need to win the last 2 games. Will it come in the form of the Saints making the playoffs and Alvin Kamara not being able to play unless the Saints, if they make it to the wild card round, if they make it to the divisional round, we will have Alvin Kamara in NFC Championship game. I look at this as a pro as well as a con. Now, me personally, looking at this and judging this, looking at the fact that Alvin Kamara was at camp instead of in Las Vegas, as well as those other players being at their respective camps and not in Las Vegas, the defendants, I don't think the person, that they beat up, I don't think that they were in court. So the way I look at it, this might be one of those things where they settle it out in court, probably get some community service out the deal or something like that, a slap on the wrist, and it just kind of just goes away. But I look at it like, man, what are you doing? Is he not going to serve a suspension, or are we just prolonging the inevitable? Hopefully, they come to a conclusion where it just does not affect the team that way. If he does get suspended and he's suspended 2 games, hopefully it comes like, I don't know, in the middle of the season or something like that, where you can kind of weather the storm. But I just feel like if you prolong this and they reach a verdict and the NFL decides to suspend him, then, when will those suspension games come? Will they come at a very important time for the New Orleans Saints? Or will they come in the middle of the season where, you can probably plug in a Mark Ingram, plug in a Abram Smith, plug in, a Devon Ozigbo if these guys make the team? Like, when will it come? So hopefully it don't come, to that. But I think that the way it's going, I don't think he's gonna get suspended at all. They probably gonna end up pushing it back further and further and further. And then you might end up getting suspended going into the next season, but it'll probably be at the beginning of the season, where the season first starts. Mighty Mouse says, what up, TJ? I want to see these people that talk so much about the cornerback position line up with these elite receivers and see if they can shut them down all game. Probably not going to happen, Mighty Mouse. It's probably not going to happen. Like I said, I mean no disrespect, but I just think that, people that have not played the game, and look, you ain't even got to play on a professional level, because none of us have. Maybe somebody in a group. I know we have some former NFL player, current NFL players that watch the show. They hit me up, talk about he loved the content. Shouts out to everybody that shows love to the state of the Saints. But look, I think it's easier for us to critique certain things from the comfort of our own homes, where it's nice and cozy and the air conditioner is blowing at 70 degrees, for a perfect temperature in the home, for us to critique these guys. If you ever been under certain type of pressure, and this includes I'll even minimize it. If you ever played basketball on a blacktop, or you play basketball in your local gym, in your local fitness center, right? Y'all playing 5-on-5, the game close. Your job is to kind of, bounce the ball up the court, to probably, pass in order for to win the game or something like that. Dude pressing you or something, and you throw the football, but you throw the basketball and get intercepted and dude lay it up. I mean, there are pressure moments that we probably face in life that ain't even remotely close to what these guys deal with. But you have to be able to be focused at all times, dialed in at all times. And you got to, like if it's a bad play, you got to eliminate that out your mind like that, right? You just got 40 seconds, after each play, right, to come up, and be better than that last rep that you took. And it's easy for us to like critique that, right? Because we're so emotional. We're so emotional when it comes to what we want this team to do, right? And we don't allow logic to sink in until where it's all said and done, right? We're so overcome with emotion because we want the outcome to be a Saints win. And anybody that's prohibiting that, sometimes we just unfairly judge those individuals. Somebody can have a bad game. Have you ever seen a guy, a homeboy, a homegirl that can shoot right in the gym, and all of a sudden they can't hit the back of a barn door? Does that mean that they can't shoot? No, that just means they have an off day. If you play baseball, right? Sometimes you probably had a teammate that can, knock all the leather off the ball, right? But he probably go through a little hitting slump. I mean, it happens. Does not mean that's an indication of what that player actually is. How many guys have we seen start off a little rough, rather as a basketball career, an NFL career, a baseball career, and then they end up retelling a story about themselves? I think we need to give these guys opportunities to rewrite their stories and write their stories rather, and not allow us to write it every single, play by play, right? We're writing as if we're writing in Doug's journal. You know what I'm saying? Like we just writing down what we see. Okay, he made a play, he didn't make a play. He made a play, didn't make a play. Like that's not how you're supposed to critique or analyze the game, in my opinion. I think that you have to look at the entire totality of the thing, not just what that person did from down to down. I know NFL watching is emotional, but I think we need to be logical as well. 182 people watching this right now. I ask that you hit the like button if you have not already. I would really appreciate that. Thank y'all for being here. Lattimore is the best right now. I agree with that. I agree with it. You got to put together some games, some years in order for you to be in that conversation. Not just a training camp, not just, I just knocked away the ball for Chris Olave or Jarvis Landry. Like, no, you don't solidify yourself in practice like that. You solidify yourself by putting together a collage of games, playing at a high level before you can have this conversation. Whole league. I'm just thinking about the future. As far as the future, what are we talking about here, Tidra? I apologize. I guess you were talking about it towards the top, but I'm kind of strolled down. So elaborate for me. What's going on with Tyrann Mathieu? I have no idea. And once again, I just think that we just should respect this man's wishes. There's some things bigger than football, and the man is dealing with a family issue. I just think that people that's just out here trying to find something wrong or trying to make something more than what it actually is, I feel like that's unfair. Okay, sometimes we have to prioritize. All right, there's nothing more important to me, and it shouldn't be nothing more important to you than your family, the welfare of your family. And once again, like for all my young viewers and listeners out there that probably don't have any type of responsibility, keep living. Right. Football right now is probably the most important thing to you because you don't really have much responsibility. If you're a teenager watching this show, you probably still, got your mom and daddy probably still ironing your clothes, right? You probably got a little job, but it's not to a point where you just have to go out there and grind and the money that you bringing home is the deciding factor if the lights and the water come on. Keep living, right? I understand that everybody wants Tyrann Mathieu to play. I understand what Tyrann Mathieu can bring to the field. I understand his knowledge, his ability. But once again, the man is dealing with a family issue. And I think we as Saints fans need to respect that. And if you can't respect that, then I would say maybe you need to do some reflection on your own self and think about what's really important. I mean, we love football. And of course, the Saints winning games are important, but man, not to a guy supposed to leave home if he's dealing with something that's very serious in order for us to see him in practice clothes so we can be like, man, you seen what Tyrann Mathieu did? I'm good on that. I thought he was going to get 8 games. I think that a lot of people thought that, but what can you do? Like, what can you do if you go to court? Because that's the only thing they would have said. And you have to understand that the NFL would have set themselves up for a lawsuit, right? You can't suspend a guy like that if he was found not guilty just because, people on Twitter got something to say. Now, I understand that we got our followers and we get them likes and we get them retweets, and all of a sudden we just feel like everybody care about what we have to say, but that's just not the way society rolls, right? Twitter is not real life, right? We can talk about that, and I understand that people want to possess that type of power, but at the same time, what can you do if a guy is found not guilty? You can't just suspend a guy for an entire year for what you think that he did. I mean, or what you believe that he did, or what it looked like. According to the court, he was found not guilty. So what can you do then? Right? What can you do? You can go through a retrial and hope that, the outcome is different, and maybe you can reapproach it later on. But as of right now, there's nothing they even really do, and they would have set themselves up for a lawsuit. And we all know that the NFL don't like lawsuits. As much as we get mad and get outraged by it, we know what the deal is. Y'all know what the real deal Holyfield is, folks. We know that the NFL cares about money. The most important thing to them is money. They can talk about the fans and how much they love the fans, but they love the fans coming out with their money. So they're not trying to lose that. TJ Roby is having a good camp also. Justin Evans could turn out to be one of the best offseason additions to the team. Along with him and PJ, the Saints have 4 capable starters. Well, that's good to hear. Bradley Roby has always been pretty good. And I think that, as he starts to learn the same system, this would be, it'd be second full season. He came in like towards the end. But the thing is, as you start to develop and learn a system, you start to get a little better. He was always been a solid cornerback. And also with Justin Evans is one of those guys who was pretty good, but he always just dealt with injuries. And he took some time off. He came back, and he's pretty solid. And then, of course, PJ Williams has emerged and found his calling as one of those safeties, right? Cornerback, he wasn't as good. It was borderline terrible watching this. But at the same time, he has turned out to be a pretty doggone good safety. So it's good that he was able to resurrect his career. And that's another thing. That's another reason, right? We look at the career of PJ Williams. I'm guilty of this myself. I'm not just going to place the blame on other people, but we was ready to get this dude up out of here. I had a joke here on the State of the Saints podcast. I was like, he must know where Sean Payton and the coaching staff buried the bodies. He must got some incriminating photos or something of them while he keep being around. But he definitely has turned out to be a really good member of that secondary. So sometimes, it takes some guys some time, and we have to be a little bit patient. TJ, did you see Eli Apple getting burnt by Chase? Yes, I did. To his defense, there's not many cornerbacks that can keep up with Jamar Chase. But look, man, I think that everybody, has their reservations about Eli Apple. Me personally, I think there's a place for him in the National Football League, but I don't think he's a top corner. Do I think that he'll always be in the league? Yeah, they'll always find a place for him. He's not the worst cornerback I've ever seen, but he's definitely not the best. And he definitely don't need to be a part of the starting rotation as far as like number one corner on one side, Eli Apple on the other. No, but I do feel like there's a place for him. But going up against Jamar Chase, that's a lose battle. This is the same guy who put the boots and arguably the best cornerback in football in Jalen Ramsey in the Super Bowl. So to his defense, he was going up against a really good wide receiver, but yeah, he's not very good when it comes to like the pecking order of where you want your cornerbacks to be. Mystikal dealing with some demons for him and victims involved. Yeah, man. Look, Mystikal served some time for the same issue. I'm not going to really go into it. I'm pretty sure some of you probably already read it. But it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate for the person that it happened to. It's unfortunate for Mystikal. When guys get out of jail, you want them to be able to be upstanding citizens, be able to go back to society and find a place. Unfortunately, sometimes guys get in that system, and it's hard for them to shake it. Rather it be not being able to get opportunities. Maybe life is not the way that it once was. But at the same time, you hope that guys can make a change. It's unfortunate that it happened. Man, my heart go out to the victims that are affected by it, the families. But hopefully this guy can, get some help, the help that, he need. And also the victim, that it happened to can be able to get the help that they need. It's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate every time you hear about situations like this. We might trade Roby. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. You got all this depth, all this depth. I mean, somebody is going to benefit from all this depth that the Saints have, because you're not going to be able to keep all these guys. Now, depth is important, and it seems like Dennis Allen wants that. He wants to have depth, right? Because he says that this is a backup league. That's what he said in the press conference. It's a backup league, and sometimes guys, well, it's not sometimes. Guys go down. Guys go down, hurt, injured, miss weeks at a time, and you expect for the other guys to come in and give you solid production. Now, the guys that started for a reason, the one that got hurt, so you're not going to see the same type of production, but you're hoping that you can get a guy in there that can give you some solid play until that starter comes back. And having guys like this have these type of battles and having these guys fight it out, that you're going to have the right 53 on your team. And when guys go down, you have another guy that can come in and give you that production that you're looking for. But if he's innocent, why any games? Well, you got to have something happen to him. Look, it's all about optics, man. I mean, it's about optics. It's about what it looked like, right? It's understandable because, I mean, look, you went to court in the first place, right? That's honestly, that's the reason why he's being suspended, because the way that it looks, in the eyes of the NFL and the eyes of the general public, right? You're a representative of the Shield, the National Football League, and then showing up in court as a starting quarterback of the National Football League, of an organization, it's not a good look. So they have to do something. It's like, showing up to work, late, right? I mean, it's not in the same context, but what I'm saying is, if you show up to work late, I mean, I'm pretty sure something is going to happen to you. You're not, you constantly, you show up late, the teammates are counting on you. Management might get to you and say, man, look, you late, the policy about being late, we're going to have to do this. So I just think that it's about the reflection of what it looks like. You have guys who ends up, going to court, and because of the way that it looks, the NFL suspends you because of that. And look, this is a high profile case. I mean, everybody's talking about this, right? 9 football reporters are talking about this, right? It represents something that's going on in society right now when it comes to sexual assault. It's a hot topic. It's a part of pop culture. It's not just about the NFL. So you have those eyes on it. So something had to happen, and I just think that this was the best alternative. And I'm saying this not to say that it's the best. I mean, as far as like this is good, but I'm just saying as far as where they were, as far as the case, what the verdict was, and something that the NFL can do without really, having some type of litigation against them. So May, Honey Badger, Williams, Evans, and JT Gray, which I think we can replace Gray with a starter or a second string guy and still be okay on special teams. Look, I just think that JT Gray is the guy on special teams. Okay, he is the Fred McAfee of the special teams. I mean, he's all pro. He's a Pro Bowler. He's a really good special teams guy. That is his place. I think that they're looking for another gunner on the other side. I think that's what a battle is. I think that Dennis Allen mentioned that too. So I think JT Gray is going to be that guy. Now, it could be one of those cases with Justin Hardy, where he was a really good special teams guy, and he ended up going to the Jets because he wanted an opportunity to be a part of the starting rotation and prove that what he can do, as a corner in the National Football League outside of being on special teams. JT Gray gets paid a nice bit of change to be that ace on special teams. So I expect for the Saints to have him over there. Now, it does not mean that JT Gray can't fill in. We've seen in some games where he actually was a part of that rotation when guys went down. But I expect JT Gray to be a part of that special teams. I think that is really up to guys like PJ Williams, guys like Tyrann Mathieu, guys like Marcus May to solidify themselves. You can even throw Alontae Taylor in there, who I feel like is probably going to be playing a little bit of nickel, a little bit of safety as well. So I think those guys are going to be the ones that we're looking at when it comes to JT Gray. I think the Saints love him and respect him and what he can do on special teams. So it's not an indication that he can't play in the rotation, but I just think that the New Orleans Saints like him. He's a really good on special teams. I mean, he's all pro because of it, and you want to keep that guy on that side. Hooded you, thank you very much for 499. Says who that TJ 200 watching and only 100 likes. Smash that like button and let's send some super chats. Let's start it here. Hooded you, thank you very much for the 499. I appreciate that, man. Look, if you like the show, if you like the content, if you like what we're doing here, I just ask that you hit the like button. I would really appreciate that. And shouts out to the 205 people watching this live right now. I appreciate that. Rather you're just getting home from work or you're driving in your car, you're listening, wherever you are right now, I appreciate it because you could have chose any other New Orleans Saints outlet to be listening to right now. So just thank you humbly. Thank you very much for choosing the State of the Saints podcast. PJ took out Chris Godwin and changed Tampa's momentum. LOL. Look, I understand. Look, I don't wish injury on anybody. I don't like it. I know some people was talking about Ryan Jensen, him being hurt, and some people are like, man, F Ryan Jensen and all that kind of stuff. Look, I understand that when you have rivals, there's a lot of emotion behind it. But as for me, look, I ain't trying to wish no injury on nobody, right? I don't care how good a guy is. I don't care if he's affecting, the outcome of the team. Like I look at like Steve Smith back in the day. Like if you're a Saints fan, you hated that dude, right? But he was so good. You know what I'm saying? He was so talented. Like, but I ain't never thought like, man, I hope the Saints knock him out of the game. Like, man, come on, man. Like, don't let the emotions get the best of you like that. Chris Godwin being hurt was unfortunate. Do I feel like it was Bush League? No. I don't think that it was Bush League. But I understand why Tampa would feel the same way that they did because we as Saints fans felt the same way when it came to Devin White. I know I did. I was very expressive about that. And I also believe that. I believe that. I believe that Devin White took out Jameis Winston. Look, the way that the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were playing, the Saints would have blew out Tampa with Jameis. Tampa was playing man coverage. They were playing the Saints as if Drew Brees was there. And they weren't accounting for Jameis Winston running out of the pocket because, they were playing man coverage. The cornerbacks and safety were running down the field, and it opened up opportunity for Jameis. So Jameis was getting 5, 7, 10 yards a clip at a time, and they didn't have any answer for it. And the Saints had all the momentum in the world because Saints fans were there, and they were excited, and they wanted to take down Tampa. So I do feel like he had an opportunity to probably wrap up Jameis in a different way. He horse-collared them, pulled them back, and took them out the game. I don't know if a discussion was had, but I'm smart enough to know. I've been in situations in locker rooms where guys know, how good guys are, and they might be saying some things like, man, shoot, I'm gonna knock his block off today. It happens. But I don't wish injury on anybody. I don't wish injury on anybody. I hope Chris Godwin makes a speedy recovery because he's a talented guy. And he's a guy that needs to get paid, right? He's been giving Tampa a lot of production. And I want to see this man make as much money as he possibly can to be able to give his family generational wealth. And I don't care if he does play for the Buccaneers. He's a talented guy. The same job is to neutralize him when they play. He is a difference maker when he's on the field, but I don't wish injury on anybody. but I'm smart enough to know that guys do go out there and sometimes things happen. Sometimes they intentionally happen, and sometimes they just freak accidents happen. These players affect the team bottom line. Bad behavior costs teams money. That's true. I mean, it is what it is. Let me get a little Gatorade. But yeah, seriously, your reputation as a player, you don't really just represent yourself. You represent the organization. I work for WLGI out here in Myrtle Beach, right? Every 2 years I have to sign a contract, right? It's a contract clause. It's a, you know what I'm saying? It's a clause that you sign because you don't just represent yourself. Like when you're out and about, the way that I'm on social media, that represents WLGI, right? And if I'm out here being disrespectful, I can lose my job, right? That's just the way it is. Some people that teach at certain schools, like private schools, Catholic schools, they sign moral clauses, right? There are certain things that you have to uphold to or adhere to rather when you have those jobs. When you're an NFL player, you represent the organization, not just yourself. So if you go out here, get into a fight at a club, or you disrespect a woman, or you know what I'm saying, you end up trying to whoop a woman on a beach, you're a representative of the organization, and you're supposed to represent that to the fullest. And if you do not, then it's well within the organization's rights to suspend you, to cut you, to fine you. I mean, it's up to them. Anthony, who you talking to? I'm not sure about that. For tarnishing the NFL's name. You see, man, Hardy was a dog. He went to my barbershop. Yeah, man, Justin Hardy. I've always heard positive things about him. He's also an entrepreneur, opened up, became a franchise owner. So shouts out to the brother. Smart people know we are Super Bowl caliber. And that's all that matters, Mike. That's all that matters, man. Most people aren't smart. Just let them talk, man. Let the Saints game do the talking. You can also listen to it on Anchor FM. Yeah, you can listen to the State of the Saints on Anchor FM, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're on every major streaming platform. I'm watching over here on Facebook. Yeah, we're also available on Facebook. We got the new page up and running. We got about 1,600 people following the page now. So back in the day, a couple months back, we had to start all over again on that page. We went from having about 20,000 subscribers to unfortunately, losing that page because somebody hacked into it. It's very unfortunate, but we're back at it. We're still creating content over there on that channel, and we're giving you all like information as it comes along. Shouts out to all the moderators removing the spam from the comments. I thank y'all for that. I love Steve Smith when he wasn't playing for the Saints. Godwin was karma. I think some people like felt that way, but unfortunately, it's unfortunate he got hurt. I go trigger mode ASAP. These trolls know I don't play. Let's see. According to Bobby E. All right, but let me go ahead and mention this. I know that there's people out there that probably want to talk about this today. This probably was one of the I won't call it the highlights, but it was what everybody was talking about. It was left tackle Trevor Penning. Trevor Penning got into a little scrum with defensive end second-year player Peyton Turner at camp. We know that Trevor Penning has a reputation of playing to the whistle blows. I'll just leave it at that. They got into it. But, he was asked this question. I'm talking Trevor Penning after practice about the way that he approaches the game and, his little scrum with Peyton Turner. This is what he said.
I didn't say anything. It's football. We're competing. It's a tough game for tough people. You got to be able to take that. There's no bad blood between us. We're just competitors competing. That's just how I've always played the game, and that's just how it's meant to be played to me. So, yeah.
How many practice fights have you
In my career, I mean, not real fights, I would say. I mean, scuffles for sure, like kind of what happened today. I mean, it's nothing. Like I'm not going out to start a fight or anything. But if things happen, it's a competitive game, and people are competing to make the team play. I mean, we're trying to all get better. We're trying to make a Super Bowl, so we're trying to get better every day.
Yeah, as you can see, man. I mean, look, Trevor Penning ain't trying to change for nobody, and I have absolutely no problem with that. I've seen comments about Trevor Penning and they're saying things like, "Oh man, I can see him getting a bunch of flags. Oh, I can see him getting into fights." Only thing I'm gonna say about this is, if you fall into this category, then I'm talking about you. It's extremely hypocritical of the Who Dat Nation. I'm gonna say that again. It's extremely hypocritical of the Who Dat Nation because for years we have been talking about this offensive line not being aggressive enough. We look to guys like Andrews Pete, we look to guys like Cesar Ease, and we talk about these guys not being wired the way that we want offensive linemen to be wired. We want them to go back to the days of the Bush Rides, of the Jonathan Goodwins, right? Of the Jari Evanses, right? We want them to go back to those days, the Zach Strief. So shouts out to Zach. We want them to go back to those times. And then we turn around and have an issue or a problem with the way that Trevor Penning plays the game. Look, you want some of the most nasty, some of the most physical, some of the most doggish guys playing on your offensive line. Because, look, anybody that has an issue with that, then I would have to second guess your knowledge of the game. Look, it just comes with it. And I like the fact that he's unapologetic. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what you think about him. Doesn't care what I think about him. He is who he is. He's a football player through and through. He's a guy that's not afraid to get nasty. He's a guy that's not afraid to get physical. And when you have those type of guys on your team, then you know that it's going to translate to the field. No matter who he goes up against, he's going to go out there and give you his all. His job is very, very important and one of the most important jobs in the NFL. His job is to protect Jameis Winston or the starting quarterback, whoever that may be, as long as he's a member of the New Orleans Saints. That's his job. And him approaching it the way that he's approaching it, I have absolutely no problem with that. I hear people talking about he need to peel it back a little bit. I don't think so. I hear people talking about he need to kind of, tweak a few things, which I agree with, but it never should have anything to do with his personality. He's exactly what I feel like the Saints need on the offensive line. And when you got guys like Doug Marrone coaching that offensive line, to me, I think that that whole entire offensive line is probably going to end up having that personality. Look, I don't want a nice guy on my offensive line. I don't want a guy helping the other guy up. I don't want a guy that's going to be timid and shy and afraid and reserved. Look, that's not the personality you want on an offensive lineman. You want a guy that's nasty, that's not afraid to be physical. And, you ain't trying to look for a guy that's just out there, just trying to skip and lollygag and pussyfoot around. And if you're looking for that, then once again, I question his knowledge of the game, because I've never seen or never wanted an offensive lineman around me or a part of a team that I like that was reserved or nice or friendly. Like that ain't who he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be a nasty individual. And that's what you get with Trevor Penning. So I like his personality. And hopefully some of that can rub off on some of these other guys that we question on the offensive line. TJ, how do you watch the full Saints games in South Carolina? I watch it because I got Red Zone, and I get to watch like all the different games. I also be able to watch it because Direct TV. I got that Sunday ticket, and as well as you get the opportunity with the Red Zone as well. So I just purchase that every year. Facts, I'm always catching the replay on Spotify. I appreciate that, Damien. Thank you, man. I hate listening to the crowd, but please tell me Tyrann's going to be good. I'm hearing he about to wrap it up. Well, if he does, man, it's his decision to make. I hope that the brother find peace, whatever he's going through in his life, and whatever he decides to do. Me as a supporter of this team and a guy that understands family is important. I hope he does whatever is best for him, no matter what decision he decides to make. Tom Brady hacked your Facebook page. wouldn't surprise me. No problem, TJ. Yeah, Jared, thank you, man. Thank you for holding down the chat. Also, all the moderators. I'm new to the channel. What's your name? My name is TJ Jones, and I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Started the State of the Saints podcast back in October 2018, right after the Saints played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ryan Fitzpatrick went off for over 400 yards in the Superdome. The State of the Saints podcast was born. So State of the Saints podcast, we've been fortunate enough to interview like some of the biggest and brightest names in sports media, as well as former players. I've had almost every offensive lineman that was a part of that Super Bowl team, for the exception of Jonathan Goodwin, on the show. I've had like reporters, guys like JD, John DeShazer, my guy Brian McFadden, Steve Weich, Jim Trotter. The list goes on and on, man. We work extremely hard to create content here on the State of the Saints podcast. We're independent over here. You know what I'm saying? We built this thing from the ground up, and we're extremely proud of it. I ask if you enjoy the content, or maybe go back. And if you like some of the things that you see and you enjoy what you're hearing, then go ahead and hit that subscription button. Hopefully it won't be your last time. But Anthony, rather it is or not, thank you for being here. And I appreciate it. Let's go back up. I think I seen something that I wanted to acknowledge. It had something to do with Bobby Hebert. It says take Hebert hate on Winston with a grain of salt. He never had anything good to say about Winston, even when he was playing lights out last year. I've been hearing a lot of things about this. About Bobby Hebert not liking Jameis Winston. I don't believe that. I just think that sometimes when you're a quarterback or you played the position, you just go by what you actually see. And I don't think that he has a problem with Jameis. It just seems like to me like he likes the way that Andy Dalton plays. Like he likes the way that Andy Dalton throws the football. I don't think that he doesn't mean that he just doesn't like Jameis. I've asked him this before. He said he doesn't have a problem with Jameis. He said, but in reality, fans want guys to be like super nice and give them what they want to hear. But he said he respects Jameis Winston a lot. So shouts out to Bobby, who has been on this show a couple times. But, look, I like Bobby, but I don't think it even matters, right? What matters is what Jameis can bring to the table. Can this guy lead this team to where we want them to be, which is the Super Bowl? Look, we care about what Bobby says because Bobby is a Saints legend. Some of us had the privilege of watching Bobby Hebert play. Some people feel like Bobby Hebert is like maybe the second best New Orleans Saints quarterback of all time. And I understand that as a Saints fan, you want a former Saint to be full supportive of the things that you support. But, I mean, it's his opinion. He has a right to say whatever he has to say. He has a right to feel whatever he feels, and it doesn't matter. If you feel like Jameis Winston is a really good quarterback, that's all that matters. If you feel like Jameis Winston can lead this team, that's all that matters. Because here's the reality. Unless something happens to Jameis, he is the quarterback. So what Bobby is saying about Andy Dalton is pretty much irrelevant until something was to happen with Jameis. So Jameis is the guy. And once again, I know that society today, we want people to believe and feel and understand the way that we do, but that's just not the world that we live in. We don't live in a world where guys are just going to say and believe everything you do. And it does not mean it's an indication of you not liking a person. I think we need to get away from that sometimes. I just think that when we feel like people don't feel the way that we do about a certain situation or a certain thing, we all of a sudden jump to conclusions and say, oh, they a hater, or we don't like him. But has absolutely nothing to do with that. I remember when I was critical of Drew Brees, his performances earlier in the season, the year before he retired. And people was getting mad at me, and they were saying I ain't like Drew. I ain't never had nothing positive to say about Drew. It's because I didn't fit into that narrative. I refuse, and you should refuse, to just go with the flow, to be a part of the crowd. I don't feel like, it means that you're any less of a fan because you may have a difference of opinion than anybody else. And everybody's not going to feel the same way that you do. Bobby feels like Andy Dalton throws the ball a little bit better. and he's well within his right to believe it. And just like it's well within your rights to believe that Jameis Winston has all the tools to be a successful quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. I just think that we try to look for the black or the white, where we don't never realize that there's a gray area. There's going to be things that you may say that some other people may not agree with, and you both may be Saints fans. But at the end of the day, once again, you're both Saints fans. So that's my opinion on that. What up, Who Dat Nation? TJ don't understand why everyone is doubting us and giving us no chance at all to win the division nor make the playoffs. All Jameis did last year is show the NFL he's elite. Well, Tony, look, the NFL can believe whatever they want to believe. It's up to us, once again, to feel the way that we feel and support this team. I'm not expecting for the NFL to raid the pom-poms of the New Orleans Saints. They have never really waved the pom-poms of the New Orleans Saints. That includes when they had Drew. So they're not going to do that because now they don't have Drew and they don't have Sean. It matters what we think about this team. If you support this team, if you love this team, if you like what you're seeing, you like the moves that they made, you like some of the adjustments they made and some of the positions that needed to be tweaked, that's all that matters. What the Saints need to do is to go out there and perform. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what ESPN has to say. Doesn't matter what Fox has to say. Doesn't matter what Yahoo Sports or NBC or Pro Sports Talk. Doesn't matter what any of those guys say. What matters is what happens between those lines. Can the Saints win more games than they lose? And can the Saints be able to bring momentum into the postseason and possibly go all the way? That's all that matters. I think that we spend too much time looking for validation for people that don't matter, that people that's not going to care like we care, right? When you got guys sitting behind the desk and you're doing prep, these people are caring about the bottom line. They care about ratings. They care about entertainment aspect. They care about what's going to draw money. That's what it's all about. See, we look at things like black and white once again, but we don't look at the gray area. Why you think for years we've been hearing some of the biggest sports shows lead off with teams that aren't really that good? Why you think they lead off with teams that, like the Cowboys, like the Packers, like the Giants, NFC East teams, right? They do that because they feel like that brings in the most revenue. They're always going to talk about those teams more, right? Because that's the way that they're structured. That's the way the system is structured, right? So if you're looking for national media attention, you're looking for validation from them, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to find it. And it's going to be almost like trying to find words in a dictionary, right? Just going to pull it back and you have to search for it, right? Every now and then you have a Bart Scott repping the team or saying something that's supportive. Every now and then you might see Dan Orlovsky say something, or a guy like B-Mac, every now and then, right? You got to kind of scrub the internet to try to find, or search the internet rather, to find what you're looking for. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because that's why you have platforms like this one. That's why you have guys on the ground like Ross Jackson, guys on the ground like Nick Underhill, JD John DeShazer, Hoodie Jube, so many other guys, Big Q, who work tirelessly to give you all great Saints content. I like to put myself in that category as well. Shouts out to Deuce Winham as well. People are working really hard to give you all the information that you need in order for you to feel comfortable about your team. So my suggestion to everybody out there that may have these feelings is to just kind of just sit back and have an appreciation for those out here that are really working hard to give you what you need, and not people that rely on interns, right? To give the information, to burn the midnight oil, the intern from Michigan, the intern from Northwestern, an intern from Connecticut, who are just trying to find their way into the ranks of national media or broadcasting, right? Who burn the midnight oil to give these guys information for them to sound smart. And if you ask them anything outside of the station, rather out and about, they couldn't give you an answer. And no disrespect to them, you got guys out here that do work hard. They're very knowledgeable of the game. I've had the privilege of having some of those guys on the show, but I just think that we spend way too much time caring about individuals' opinions that don't really care that much about our team, and just want to approach sports media as a form of entertainment to line their pockets and also line the pockets of the companies that they work for. So hopefully I answered that question for you. Take a few more, and then we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Thank y'all so much. Does Strief coach the offensive lineman? Yes, he does. He's one of the coaches for the offensive line. He's going into his second season. We all know that he stepped down from being a broadcaster right after his career ended. He took that and he gave that to Mike Hoss, legendary sportscaster in New Orleans, who's doing a really good job there. And I know he looks at that as a dream job. A guy that mentor was the great Jim Henderson, who called Saints games for years. But yeah, Zach Strief is a part of the coaching staff, and he's really doing a really good job with those guys. And he loves to coach. He loves to coach. He's passionate about it. You can tell the way that he talks. You can tell the way that he approaches his job. And I got so much respect for Zach Strief. So shouts out to him. And I know he's going to be extremely successful at his job. Saints need Penning's energy. Brandon, I absolutely 100% agree with you. You want guys like this on your team. I don't need a bunch of nice guys. Now, I expect for these guys to handle themselves like almost like a Demario Davis, right? I mean, great philanthropist, doing real big things in the community. But when he gets between those lines, I mean, something snaps, and he's one of the best linebackers in football. That's what you need, right? You want guys with that type of personality. You want some dogs on the field, but you also want some guys that's out there that's doing some really good things. But you don't want nice guys on the field, nice guys off the field, right? That's not going to get you anywhere. Thank you so much for taking time to answer my question. No problem, Anthony, man. Thank you for being here once again. I appreciate it. Thank Ryan Fitzpatrick for helping starting this podcast. Yeah, man, that's somebody I might end up like reaching out to try to be on the show, like just to have him on the show. I know he never played for the Saints, but definitely would like to interview him and talk to him about the NFL. Just to show my appreciation, because I mean, if he didn't play as well as he did, I don't know. I don't know if I would have ended up doing this show or being one of the top podcasters when it comes to covering the Saints. He's very influential in me deciding to do this. He preferred anybody but Jameis, no matter what he says. Look, I'm not here to change anybody's mind. Y'all know how I do it. I give you all my opinion about the situation. I'm not here to change anybody's mind. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. You're entitled to feel any way you want to. I just rather think that a guy that played the position, I think he just goes by what he sees. I mean, Bobby has always been outspoken. That's just kind of one of the main reasons why we love him so much, and what he does. We look, I don't know, so many people, I don't know, but a lot of, but quite a few people respect his opinion, respect his career as a Saints quarterback, and also just respect his opinion about some of the things that he says about the team. When the Saints not giving their best, we kind of just hover around our radios or hover around our phones or put our earpieces in to hear what Bobby has to say about the ineptitude of that team, of a Saints team that particular week. So sometimes, guys are going to tell us exactly what we want to hear. And then sometimes guys are going to tell us things that we don't want to hear. But it's up to us, feel any way that we want to feel, but I don't know. I just think that he's doing his job. Most quarterbacks love quarterbacks who play the game like them. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It could have something to do with it. Could have something to do with the way that he's talking about it or the way that he sees it. But I mean, it's his opinion, just like we all have ours. He was saying the same about J-Dub against Hill last year. How that turned out. I don't know what we're talking about here. Well, look, if you've been following me, you know that I never looked at Taysom Hill as a starting quarterback. I like Taysom, but I always said, like, you probably can win a few games, but he's not a game-to-game quarterback, right? If you need somebody to come in and, back up, you can probably have an offense scheme around him in order to win a game. But he's not going to be that quarterback that just leads you week after week and give you win after win. I just don't agree with that. Facts, TJ, I agree 100%. Laughing my behind off, you big when them bots show up. Yeah, man, look, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to do this show. I'm blessed to have so many people that listen, that respect what we do over here. And I say we because look, you'll never really hear me say the word I. There's so many people that's instrumental in helping this show be what it is. Whether it's sharing, liking, constantly being here, constantly putting comments and questions. Like we built this show brick by brick, one brick at a time, and I'm very happy at the direction this show is going. So I'm privileged, to do this show every single day that I do it, and going into the 5th season. I never thought in a million years when I started this, like I would be talking to you all, and we'll be close to 10,000 subscribers. Like that's unbelievable. Like I wouldn't have thought about that. Especially like a guy who, I don't have a bunch of like guys who organizations like helping me out, or businesses. What I'm saying, kind of helping me build things. Like I had this idea, and we built this thing independently. That's what we did, independently. Like, and I take a lot of pride in that. A lot of people can't say that, that they started from the ground up, and didn't really get any like corporate like backing in the process. Everything that we've earned here on the State of the Saints podcast was from hard work, dedication, and great content. Back to Black and Gold. Like I said before, trigger mode. 100% OG. JT, I'm loving your life podcast. Look, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for checking out the content. Take a lot of pride in the Therapy Couch podcast. Take a lot of pride in State of the Saints podcast. Jameis hasn't played with our best receivers yet, and I think that's something that people need to take into account too, Terry. This guy was out here putting up some decent numbers, and I want to say, who was that? Nick Wright was talking about his average at 160 some yards a game and 20 attempts, but I mean, look who he was throwing to. He never like took that into consideration. Now I could be wrong about that, right? I could be wrong. I could be, out of line, when it comes to that. I'm sorry, man. I ordered some groceries online. I'm just trying to make sure that they got delivered. I apologize for that. But anyway, yeah. He was out there, throwing to guys that were undrafted, unproven, and he still made it work. So imagine what he can do with some guys that's talented. And I think that the Saints are going to approach it kind of similar to what they did last year. I don't think that he's going to be throwing the ball 35, 40 times a game. Most of the time, once again, I've said this before, that when you have former defensive coordinators, being head coaches, they like to run the football. So I think that you're going to see a balanced attack by the Saints. Andy Dalton is not a red rocket. He's more like a damn rocking chair. Look, I'm not going to disrespect Andy Dalton because I like Jameis. Look, if something was to happen to Jameis, I knock on wood when I say this. Look, we want Andy Dalton to come in and be productive. And it's not like Andy Dalton hasn't won in the league. All right, I understand like he never won a playoff game as a starting quarterback, but he did win a lot of games as a Cincinnati Bengals quarterback. And he's talented, man. He's a talented quarterback. I'm not going to disrespect the red rifle like that because what Bobby has said or what people feel. Look, I do feel like Jameis, as far as the upside, the ability, the skill set, I feel like Jameis is a better quarterback. But that doesn't mean that, I don't think Andy Dalton is a scrub. I mean, that doesn't mean I believe that Andy Dalton is a scrub. He is not. I like both guys. I think that Andy Dalton, if something was to happen to Jameis, he can come in and give you solid play. I like both of them. All right. I'm not going to I see what this can turn into, and I don't want this to be that. All right. I don't want it to be the battle, just like we did with Taysom and Jameis. I don't want this to be the battle of Jameis and Andy because of Bobby Hebert's opinion. Once again, we all have opinions. It doesn't mean that our opinion is more correct than the other person's opinion. It just means that we all have one. I like both guys. I respect both guys. And when whoever name or number is called, I hope they rise to the occasion and be the quarterback that we need them to be to lead this team. People really need to chill, though. Like I said earlier, Jameis is essentially working with all new receivers, this is the best time to get these mistakes out of the way. Look, I'm not concerned about the mistakes. I said this at the top of the show, back to Black and Gold. Anybody that feels this way, like they're looking and they're approaching what they're seeing the wrong way. This defense is the catalyst of this team. They are the ones that's leading this team. So whenever whenever the offense gets on board, then that means that the offense is going to be really good going up against other defenses, because there are not many defenses out there that are better than the New Orleans Saints. So when you see guys like picking the ball off on defense, that's an indication of how good this defense is. And when guys start to make plays down the field, then that's an indication of what the offense is turning into. So looking at every single bit of footage or clips that people put out and judging based on that, I feel like you're going about it the wrong way, because guess what? Neither one of these sides of the ball are playing each other on Sunday, right? They're going up against other teams. So if the offense steps up and they play well, then guess what? Then that means that the defense has sharpened them to that particular point. So let's approach it in that way instead of looking at, oh man, the offense sucks. No, the offense doesn't suck. It just means that they need to get on the level of the defense. And once again, there are not many defenses out there that are better than the New Orleans Saints defense is. So they're going up against probably the best defense they're going to see all season. Now, you probably got teams out there, like the Rams, that they're going to play, the Baltimore Ravens, of course, that are known for great defenses. But at the same time, there are very few defenses out there that can go toe-to-toe as far as talent-wise with the New Orleans Saints. So anybody that's out here like critiquing that, then I say that you're going about it the wrong way. Because when that offense starts to click, that just means that the rest of the NFL needs to watch out. The reason they don't give us a chance because Jameis and Michael Thomas are coming off injury, haven't got it yet in a real game since last year. Well, that can always be a question mark, but shouts out to Dr. Jesse Morris, came on the show, talked about it. The ACL technology has become so advanced, right? The fact that Michael Thomas, took as much time as he did to get his ankle right, watching him cut and make plays, I think it's a good thing. It's always like, oh, what will happen? But once again, I just think that they're just about storylines. I think that the knowledge that these sports media people have, I think they understand the advancement of the ACL injuries and the practices that have taken place in order to make these ACL injuries be as if it just is regular as a ankle sprain or something like that, where guys can kind of get what they need and be able to come back. It's so far advanced, from the days where ACL was a death sentence, right? They have come so far along, so they're going to always use that because it's compelling storyline, right? But looking at these guys, I have no problem. I have no problem with what I'm seeing, and I think that both guys are going to have really good seasons. Jameis on the whole mission this year. There will not be a better quarterback this year. Now, I can't speak that strongly, but but I do think that it's probably going to be one of his best statistical years. I think that he's probably going to play some of the best football he's played in his career. You still got some guys out there, man. I don't want to can't disrespect the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allens, the Joe Burrows. But if Jameis can put it all together, and with the skill set that he has and the talent that he has around him, it shouldn't be no shock to anybody if he does end up being among the conversation for the best. So I can't put him there just yet. I like the way he's going and how he's approaching the game. But there are so many damn talented quarterbacks out there that's ripping the league up right now. TJ Adam Troutman is leading the team in 11 on 11 with 7 catches. He is shining in camp. And this kid, Adebo, sheesh. Yeah, man, look, if Adam Troutman can live up to the expectations, then that would be a plus. The tight end position was a position that we all had questions about. Based on what we saw last year, it's not a lot of that you can, hang your hat on. But if Adam Troutman, the offseason, working with Travis Kelce, working with some of the top tight ends in the game, if that helped him in any way, be able to take that extra step, if he feels a little bit more comfortable this year versus last year, then it's optimism around the Saints organization. It's optimism when it comes to my feelings about him. I think that Adam Trautman is talented. He's a really good blocker. The pass catching was the issue. And hopefully, this can translate what we're seeing right now. It translate to the regular season, because it's hard for me to like get excited about what I'm seeing in practice. I need to see it in real time versus competition, right? Against guys that don't have a dog in the fight. And that's not really concerned about, oh man, I don't want to go ahead and hit him in the ribs. I don't want to go ahead and hit him in the thigh, because he's my teammate. Let's look and see what this guy can do versus some other teams that when other guys are making a team and they want to go out there and neutralize him. Let's see what he does then, and then I'll get excited. Yo, what's going on with Tyrann? Sorry I'm late if y'all already talked about it. Man, he's having a family issue. And it's nothing we can really do about it, man, except wait, and just respect the guy's wishes and, hope that everything turns out for him, not just for the Saints organization. 6 games is too much for a suspension from my perspective. Well, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. Like I said, man, no matter what the suspension would be, if we're talking about Watson, nobody, there would have been somebody that's not satisfied. Comeback player, Jameis Winston, could be. Let Zach Bourne rush the passer. Look, look, the way things are going right now, Luan, I'll be shocked if Zach Bourne even make the team. Based on what people are doing in camp, when I'm talking about the linebacker position, man, it might be hard for him to make the team. He might end up having to be on special teams, and make a career over there, because I see other guys stepping up and I hear his name less and less. Go to hell. We'll try to screw us the most he can. I don't know if we're talking about Goodell or not. TJ Mike the T, they said Andy Dalton, it's playing better than Jameis. I mean, like I said, they're entitled to their opinion, man. I look, that's their opinion. Just like we feel like it's blasphemous that they say that, is our opinion. That's the beauty of talking sports, right? There's some things that people may say maybe mind-blowing us, right? Mind-boggling. Then there's some things we might nod our head and approve. It's just the way that it goes. But I want to say thank you to everybody that checked out the State of the Saints podcast live. Shouts out to everybody that's listening right now. Thank you so much. Be sure, 198 people right now. If you have not already, hit that like button. If you have not already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. We're also available on facebook.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Thank you all so much. And also you can follow me on Twitter at TJAY Jones 8. That's TJAY Jones 8. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?